Hi everyone, this is Marge. Welcome to my channel. And today we are building a modernish house in a 30 by 20 lot in Newcrest. So this build is a one bath, two bedroom house, and I decided to use one of the rooms as an office space. So I'm calling this a modernish house because the vibe that this house is giving me is somewhat a combination of city living and country living. So while I am building this house, I'm thinking that, you know what? Probably the same who lives here uprooted her life from the country and moved to the city to pursue her passion in writing and painting. Anyway, heading straight to the build. So normally when I build, I work on the floor plan, then start placing down items on each room, even before adding windows on the build, just so I know that that window will fit perfectly on that specific spot. But in this one, I actually tried something new. So after I've decided on the floor plan, I went ahead and added windows and doors even before I started to work on a room. And to be honest, I think it turned out okay. So the first room that I worked on was the bathroom. Well, simply because it's small and can be easily cluttered. This was also when I decided that the theme of the house will be black and gray. Yeah, I know. It's very monochromatic, but I make it a point that, there's a pop of color on each room just to add a bit of character to it. So in here, we have all the necessary items that we would need, like the bathtub, the toilet, the sink, and the mirror. You'd also notice that as I move along to the build, I made sure that I add some clutter items to make the build look more lived in. I also added some laundry items like the hamper, and yes, there is a washer and dryer in the bathroom. So why not throw in more clutter items from laundry day, right? So other than that, I also have a bathrobe, a towel, a hand soap, and a shampoo and conditioner combo in here. Plus, of course, I added those hanging plants from Nifty Knitting and some more potted succulents from Base Game. Then I threw in some rugs to, create a much more cozier vibe. Now, I know that we are already working on the kitchen, but I have to say this that, there is a huge painting in the bathroom, and I just thought that um, it kind of brightens up the monochromatic theme of that room. Okay, now. So moving on to the kitchen. Well, this one is a very narrow kitchen, and there are a lot of decor and clutter items in this small space. But I made sure to it that even if this is a small kitchen, it is neatly decorated and aesthetically pleasing. Also, while I am selecting the decor and clutter items to be placed in this small room, I am imagining that maybe the sim that lives here loves coffee and, probably enjoys cooking. That's why I added some coffee display on the wall, and I also hang some pans under it and also make sure that she has all the spices and condiments available in her kitchen. So one more thing, since I want to achieve a bit of realism in the kitchen, I actually placed some clutter items on top of the fridge. So I also leaned the cutting board on the wall near the magnetic knife rack with the use of the tool mod. So just a quick sidebar. I really like how the tool mod helps builders create a somewhat um that realistic vibe on each creation. And just to share, I am planning to build a starter house and, somehow up its decor with the use of the tool mod. Probably I'd be creating like my own hanging lights or somehow customizing a sofa or a table or even the roof, without any use of any custom content. I don't know. I have tons of ideas in my head, and I'm really just excited to build another house. Now, if you also want to try to use the tool mod on your builds, I will leave a link on the description below so you too can download it. So let's go back to the build. I did not forget to place the trash bin as well as a smoke detector in the kitchen, especially that she lives on her own. And God forbid, if a fire broke out and she's not able to call the fire department immediately, well, maybe because she's busy screaming on top of her lungs. That smoke alarm or the smoke detector will come in handy since it somehow alerts the fire department, and a couple of firefighters will be arriving shortly at your doorstep to put out the fire. Although there are some cases where the firefighters arrive, but they don't put out the fire immediately. It actually happened to me once. I think it's in Strangerville. It's like they're having a delayed reaction while my sim continues to panic. So, there. Anyhow, let me get back to the kitchen. So, you would notice that I have limited counter space. So, my goal is to free up that one counter space so that during gameplay, your sim can easily prepare their meal in the kitchen. So, what happened is that I end up adding some shelves on top of it for me to have, more spaces, like on where I can place like those clutter items like her coffee beans and spices. And then just to complete the decor on the kitchen area, I added a base game curtain, a rug, and a snake plant that I sized up, plus that hanging plant from Paranormal, as well as the vertical mini garden from Tiny Living for, a much livelier vibe since we are keeping the gray and black theme across the house. So overall, I really like how that kitchen turned out. And I can't seem to keep up with the video. I'm still saying a lot of stuff about the kitchen. Then, suddenly the video started showing me the living and the dining area. You know what? Just to share. Well, on my last video, I really struggled to find words for me to be able to, successfully describe my build. And that's why I end up having like tons of dead air towards the end of the video. Now it's the complete opposite. I am really struggling to keep up with the pacing of this video because I have a lot to share about this build. So, I guess the theme of this voiceover will be more of like me still talking about a certain area while the video is showing a different area. Anyway, there are screenshots at the end of this video, and you can see the completed look of each area later on. So I really hope you're gonna stick around. Anyways, since we're showing the dining and living area or the dining and living room area, um, what I did in this space is that I did not place any divider between the two, just so I get to have that feel of continuity on the build since most of the modern houses don't really have tons of walls dividing each room. And then I also replaced the windows in the living room area and matched it with the rest of the house since I had a hard time finding a curtain that will fit the floor to ceiling window. And in my opinion, I think it turned out great. So in here, I used the sectional. It's a sectional sofa from Dream Home Decorator, since it somewhat gives out a modern vibe. And as for the dining area, I used the dining table from Dream Home Decorator and partnered it with a cushioned wooden chair from the same pack. To be honest, I really tried hard to keep the interior for the living and dining room simple, but I think I failed to do that since I added a bunch of debug items from cottage living at the back of the accent table. Plus, I also placed several vases and a ceramic dog that I sized down under it. So maybe I am not ready yet for like a minimalist decor in my build. But we'll get there. We will definitely get there. So I also added some paintings from Tiny Living above the sofa and also placed like a centerpiece on the dining table. Then as always, I throw in some rugs in the dining and the living room area. Um I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like it's just so bare without rugs in the build, just like plants. I don't think I can complete a build without including some plants on my interior, especially those hanging plants from Nifty Knitting and Paranormal. They're just a whole new vibe, right? Anyhow, let's just focus on the build. So for the center table, I sized down the coffee table from Dream Home Decorator and added a vibrant flower from Cool Kitchen to serve as its centerpiece. Also, I've been thinking like how can I make the corner across the bedroom door a bit interesting? So I decided to place a shelf from Paranormal and add some books and decor items in it. Then I also hang a wall lamp from Cottage Living under the shelf. Now, moving on to the bedroom, to be honest, this bedroom doesn't give me any of that modern or country vibe. I feel like this is just a typical bedroom. I don't even know like where do I categorize this? But I love the outcome that I have achieved in this bedroom, which actually made me think that, aside from the backstory of the sim who lives in this house, maybe I am calling this a modernish house because of its boxy build and the modern style roofing in contrast to this bedroom. Because this bedroom gives it's like warm, cozy vibe, like the ones that you'll get from a simple starter house. So yeah, that's actually the vibe that I am getting from this bedroom. Like looking at that fluffy bed, those charming fairy lights, the basket of cozies on the floor, the hanging plants, even the curtain. It just feels so homey despite the blacks and the grays in the room. I know. I really cannot stress enough how this room makes me feel. By the way, I did not add any rugs in this room since the flooring I selected was a carpet, and I am just thinking that, yeah, I don't need a rug in here. But I did add some paintings on the wall and created a shelving unit on the other side. I also stacked some boxes and baskets of linen on top of the dresser. Then I used some yellow swatches on some items in this room. It just makes the room feel homier and more lived in. Anyway, enough about the bedroom. So let's move on to my favorite part of this house, which is the office space. I replaced the door for this room and used that bookshelf door, which was a locked item. It can be unlocked on level 10 of the writer career, but you may just go ahead and open the cheat bar and type bb.ignore gameplay unlocks entitlement to have access to those locked items in the game. When you're on the living room and the dining room area, you wouldn't notice that that bookshelf was actually a door. You'd think that it's just, a typical bookshelf, especially that I did not place any bookshelves outside. It's kind of a hidden passage in a sense, and my train of thought is that, it's a nice secret door leading to your office space, especially if you have visitors over and you don't want them to end up in your office. They won't notice that that bookshelf was actually a door. But since we're in The Sims, so regardless if you use that bookshelf door to conceal your office space, I still don't understand why the welcome wagon tends to end up walking in that office space. Oh well. Back to the build, I also added a plant and a magazine and remote holder near the shelves. I just feel like it's awkwardly empty. That's why I added those decor items there. And, you know, I really hope I get to achieve that sense of minimalist on my next builds because looking at my two recent ones, I've been enjoying cluttering up the space. So in here, I just used a simple looking desk from Discover University. Then I added a computer. I also have some candles and some succulents. I think it's called terrarium. I don't know if I am pronouncing it right. I might be butchering the pronunciation. So just to keep it simple, let me just say those succulents. So there's also a table lamp and some ancient looking books on the desk. Since she's a budding writer, maybe she's been doing some research on ancient items. I don't know. Or maybe it's just there for decoration purposes. There's also a stack of boxes at the corner of the room to give it a vibe that maybe those are some of her unedited books or, some articles that she previously written. And in addition to that, I also added the attic stack decoration box since it adds to your gameplay, especially when putting up or removing holiday decors. I also added an easel in this room and some paintings leaning on the wall. Maybe when she's having like a writer's block, she paints to relax her mind and also to get inspiration or motivation for her next book or article. So we're on the exterior. Okay, on the roof, I decided to use a half gabled roof, then just placed like a half wall on the other side to somehow mimic a flat roof. Then I just raised the platform on the inner square to achieve that kind of effect. Then added some roof trim to make the build look, somehow complete. And then for the wall, I end up using the stone from Get Together and a brick from Get Famous. As for the accent wall, I just use a gray paint from Base Game. And then I added a wall light from Cats and Dogs near the main door. And then for the swatch that I use on the foundation, that one is from Get Together since I want to match it with a stone wall at the left side of the house. I also feel like the roof looks empty, so I decided to add some grass on the roof. Then on the lower part, I used like some concrete tiles to get that flat roof effect since I am trying to make the build look modernish. Now, off to the landscaping, I just created a mini plant box by using a slim fence from Strangerville, then added some debug plants from Jungle Adventure. I also added an outdoor light from Get Together, just so it's not too dim at night on the way to the house. I also use a terrain paint to create a pathway from the street going to the house. Then for the mailbox, I opt to use the one from Oasis Spring since it kind of looked modern to me. After which I added some lavender bush in front of the window, then just lay some grass underneath to complete the look. I also added those grass on the roof. Well, just because. Now off to the backyard. I already placed a pool and some sun loungers in the backyard, but later on I will be moving the swimming pool as well as the sun loungers, for a much better layout of the backyard. I also placed a trash can, but I made sure to it that it is somewhat covered and won't be an eyesore for the entire backyard. Now, for a lack of better use on the remaining space in this lot, I placed an outdoor dining area and completed that by adding a grill. I am thinking that since the sim who lives here loves to cook and she's also a budding writer, maybe there are days that she prefers to do her writing outdoors. Sometimes like a change of scenery is all it takes for you to be flooded with inspirations and motivations. Also, you would notice that I kind of skip most of the landscaping part of this video. I just don't want to bore you with it, but you will see the completed landscaping while I am painting some terrain paints on them, for a much more realistic vibe. And then to ensure that our build blends well with its surroundings, I use mostly the plants and trees that can be found in Newcrest. All right, so I think we are already approaching the end of this video. I already uploaded this build to the gallery. You can just, search my EAID QueenB underscore bullish if you want to download this. And if you enjoy contents like this, please leave a like and click on the subscribe button. Your support is much appreciated. Also, hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. So again, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye!